In October 2015, John Brennan, the director of the CIA, received a phone call that would change the way the world saw cyberattacks, hacktivism, and government surveillance. On a chilly autumn day, he answered the phone, only to be greeted by a voice that, at first, seemed like just another prank call. However, it was far from ordinary. The voice on the other end of the line threatened Brennan with information that would shake the foundations of the US intelligence community. It was a young hacker, part of a group called Crackers with Attitude, or CWA, who was determined to expose government corruption and injustice through hacking. This event would mark one of the most audacious and politically charged cyberattacks of the decade. But to understand how this attack came to be, we must first look at the evolution of hacking culture, the rise of hacktivism, and the key players involved in this daring breach. The origins of the Crackers with Attitude group and their famous hack of John Brennan can be traced back to the mid-2000s when hacking was becoming more mainstream. Hacking had long been seen as a pursuit for tech-savvy individuals, often motivated by curiosity or personal gain. However, in the early 2000s, a new breed of hacker emerged, one driven by political causes and social justice. The group Anonymous, for example, rose to prominence as a collective of hackers who sought to challenge the status quo, often engaging in cyberattacks against corporations, governments, and institutions they perceived as corrupt. They were not only technologically proficient, but also deeply influenced by the idea that the internet could be a tool for social change. One of the key figures in this shift was a teenager named Default. By 2008, Default was a typical American teenager, passionate about soccer, video games, and his dog. But his fascination with technology led him down a darker path: hacking. Initially, he started by cheating in video games, but soon, he was learning how to manipulate computers in more sophisticated ways. At the same time, Anonymous was gaining international attention for its operations. The group was a loose collection of hackers who shared a common goal: to use the internet as a platform for political activism. Default, captivated by Anonymous ideology, joined their ranks. He was particularly drawn to the sense of freedom they represented, a way to force the world to pay attention without having to leave the comfort of his own home. However, as Default got deeper into the hacking world, he began to see the flaws within Anonymous. The group was becoming bloated, filled with informants, and riddled with infighting. Many of its actions seemed more about trolling than actual political activism. In search of something more serious and impactful, Default eventually left Anonymous and joined another hacking group, AnonSec. In 2014, Default became involved with a new hacker group called Crackers with Attitude CWA, which was led by a 15-year-old hacker named Kraka, based in the United Kingdom. Kraka was angry about the US government's foreign policy, particularly its involvement in the Middle East. His frustration with US actions in Gaza, along with his strong feelings about government surveillance, motivated him to take action. He sought to expose the US intelligence community's secrets through hacking. Kraka was no ordinary teenager. He was smart, resourceful, and motivated by a strong sense of political justice. He and his group began their operations by targeting high-ranking officials within the US intelligence community. One of their first victims was James Clapper, the US Director of National Intelligence at the time. Kraka managed to hack Clapper's email and post his private details on Twitter, a move that earned him the admiration of Default. But it wasn't just about embarrassing these figures. The group aimed to show that the US intelligence community wasn't as invincible as it appeared. Their hacks were designed to expose what they saw as corruption and abuse of power within the government, particularly in its foreign policy decisions and surveillance practices. As Kraka and Default teamed up, they continued to target top-level intelligence officials. The pinnacle of their efforts came when they set their sights on John Brennan, the CIA director. The story of the Crackers with Attitude group is a stark reminder of the power of the internet and the ways in which young people can harness technology to challenge the world's power structures. Their actions, whether you see them as justified or criminal, illustrate a deep-seated frustration with authority and a desire to reshape the world in a way that aligns with their own ideals. In the end, their hacking spree didn't just embarrass a few government officials. It forced the world to confront uncomfortable truths about surveillance, privacy, and the balance of power between citizens and the state. And though many of the individuals involved paid a heavy price for their actions, their story remains a testament to the disruptive power of hacktivism in the digital age.